When Life by You demonstrated its conversation system, many people, myself included, immediately saw the potential for machine learning chatbot AIs, like ChatGPT, to be paired with the system. In this video, my wife and I will discuss what these advanced AI systems are, why Mr. Humble suggested they won't ship with the game at launch, and how the developers at Paradox Tectonic, or modders, will be able to utilize machine learning to enhance the game after it's released. We're gonna breeze through this as quick as we can, so take a moment to like and subscribe now so you don't forget later. Let's begin with some background on machine learning and how it applies to modern generative AIs. Simply put, a generative AI is an algorithm that, once written, can be used to create new content. A basic early form of this would be something like a random number generator or a random map generator tool, like was used in the map editors for Age of Empires and SimCity 2000.
Reticulating splines.
Another form of generative AI is procedural generation. Games like Left 4 Dead 2 procedurally altered aspects of a scenario dynamically in accordance with the player's performance. Today, the upcoming game 6 Days in Fallujah uses procedural generation to recreate the entire city each time you play, with the buildings, furnishings, and enemies in new locations every time you start a campaign. These relatively simple algorithms create a lot of replayability for the player, but are unable to change the way they generate results without difficult reprogramming. This is where recent advancements in machine learning come in.
Machine learning computer systems are capable of adapting themselves without explicit instructions. For example, if you have a procedural generation algorithm that created a city in a certain style with certain aspects, trying to use it with different aspects and styles could have adverse results. However, if you added a reinforcement learning system to the procedural generation system, it is capable of improving its performance by changing the environment and situation based on the way the players played. For example, ChatGPT is a machine learning language model that can have conversations and write as if it's human. At first, it was taught certain rules and provided examples to be graded on. This is called achievement-driven learning because the machine model received rewards and gains achievement based on how well it followed the rules and examples. Then, once it was ready, it was introduced to human feedback as another form of learning. In the case of ChatGPT, the human feedback is the continued information given to the model when the human interacts with it, like by asking further questions. In the case of training a stable diffusion model, the human feedback comes from removing the outputs that do not meet expectations assigned by the human and allowing the model to store only outputs that do meet the human specifications.
While Stable Diffusion can be run on certain high-end personal systems, programs like ChatGPT require tons of resources and are very large. Currently, the only way the public could run ChatGPT is to use an online API that utilizes the ChatGPT servers to process the requests for you. According to Rod Humble, there's no plan to have an online connection in Life by You. Therefore, the inclusion of a ChatGPT-like program would not currently be possible.
That said, modders or third-party developers could create a mod plugin for the game that would allow it to interface with such an AI model. However, this could bring a lot of danger. These kind of connections make players vulnerable for anything from simple stolen personal information and usage tracking, all the way up to viruses and ransomware, or anything in between. Over time, machine learning AI models will become more efficient and less resource heavy, while personal computers continue to improve. Because of this, we will start seeing more AI tools integrated in games in the future. In a game like Life by You, the inclusion of machine learning generative AI would be huge. Here's just a sampling of what you could do with a generative AI. Custom world generation. You could tell the program either through answering prompted questions or through free-form text exactly what you want your game world to have. How many houses and businesses of what type, the social economic balance of the neighborhood, the race and gender ratio in the population, what kind of building themes, and have it created in a matter of seconds. In build mode, you could do the same thing by describing something you wanted to build or a room you want to renovate and have the program do it for you.
Though Rod Humble says they are not currently using generative AIs as part of the development process, and the technology didn't start getting popular until well after the development of Life by You began, that doesn't mean that they won't be looked into down the line, because these programs are revolutionizing the technology industry as a whole, and the game industry specifically. Even without this technology at the player's fingertips just yet, the developers will be able to make use of these kinds of tools down the line to do all sorts of things. Even now, developers are using these kinds of AI systems in other games to help create create worlds, write dialogue, and even playtest games. In March of 2023, Google filed a patent on a new way of training AIs to play video games using remote learning services. The training starts with human input, but gradually allows the AI to teach itself through grading the success of its actions based on feedback from the game. This is not the first time such a thing has been done, and AI playtesters are instrumental in helping with level design and bug hunting.
As a software developer, I think something like this is a year or so off, depending on the resources devoted to its development as well as how the government reacts. However, once these kinds of AI systems are efficient enough to be included in games, the larger and more powerful AIs will likely be indistinguishable from humans, which could present some new problems.